What is up, beautiful people? Corwin L. Gilliams here from CLG Lifestyle. Hope you guys are feeling blessed and grateful to be alive because remember, some people did not wake up this morning. We did, and in my opinion, that's enough of a reason for us to find even the smallest opportunity to be grateful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the platform, and check the description box of how you can support what it is that I do. So, today's message is endurance, or the theme or the title is endurance. Many of you have been awakened to your Christ identity, your God given identity, and from that moment on, your life was never the same, right? And that entails a lot of things, but I'll address foundationally what I believe all across the board we all experience when it comes to this new way of life and pursuing the hopes, plans, and future that God has for our lives. One of the things is first relationships, right? God begins to strip you of relationships, whether that's family members, friends, professional relationships, right? Two, relocation. I think about Abraham. When God called Abraham, God told him to come out from amongst basically your community, come out from amongst the things that you are familiar with, come out from amongst the people, places, and things that you have grown up with or been around that have influenced you to be the person that you are today. Or should I say before your moment of spiritual awakening, right? So this may be a geographical move, right? This may be, oftentimes it is geographical, but what I'm saying is that oftentimes it's you leaving. Maybe it's leaving a state if you live in the United States of America, if you live in the Caribbean or wherever you live across the world. Oftentimes the relocation is you moving. It's geographical. It's you moving to another location physically where you don't necessarily know anybody, right? You're living and walking by faith, right? So I addressed two. I addressed one, the stripping of relationships, right? People that you thought you would be friends with or be acquainted with or you would take along with you. You realize with these new eyes, right, and this new perspective on life, that these individuals will not have a plan, a space in God's plans for your life. So stripping of relationships, geographical relocation, relocation of profession or industry, work in industry. So a lot of the times, because you now have a different perspective of self, right? You see yourself differently. God has awakened in your mind or in your heart the gifts and the talents that He has given you, and you realize, hold up, I've not been appropriating these gifts and these talents in the right place or in the right space or in the right industry. So now you begin to have desires of maybe going back to school to learn a skill or to upskill, or maybe just completely pivot into an industry that you never imagined you would be a part of, right? So for example, maybe you worked in the healthcare industry, right? But all of a sudden now you want to transition into the fashion industry, or maybe you worked in the finance industry, but all of a sudden now you want to get into culinary, right? Sometimes it's that much of a drastic change and a drastic difference. And I believe ultimately everything is to glorify God. And so when you see or when you've known someone who's been a certain way and have lived a certain way, and after God has completed enough of the transformation, internal and external, for you to now see where this person is at now, and you're like, wow, this could only be God, right? So this part of it is for God to be glorified, because when God gets involved, there's always a evident change. Like even the blind can see and the deaf can hear. You understand, when God makes a move in the lives of people. So let's take it from the top. Stripping up relationships, geographical relocation, relocating of industry, professional industry, and then should we address a fourth one? Let's see. Hobbies. Okay, the fourth one is going to be hobbies and personal interests. So because of the ways of the world, right? Because of the programming, culture, and society, we've been trained, myself included, until I had my breakthrough, right? We've been trained and programmed to want to follow what everyone else is doing, right? We've not been trained to think for ourselves. We've not been trained to value our God-given uniqueness, right? And as a result of that, we've been seeking, you know, um, we've been desiring, you know, people's validation and respect based on what is celebrated in the world. So, for example, and this may be, my intentions are not to be stereotypical, but I have to reference the obvious, right? So, for instance, certain demographics, right, particularly when it comes to race, right, when we see them in society or presented in our society or in the media specifically, right, because the media is very influential, okay, when we see certain groups of people, and I'm talking about race wise, right, you often see, you can often categorize, and even though it may be stereotypical, right, we can't deny the truth of what's being presented, right. You see certain race or groups are associated with certain industries, right? So you may have African Americans who are often associated with entertainment and sports. Then you have Asians who are often associated with like engineering or you know, the sciences, right? And so you begin to, as a child or as an individual who's learning and growing, especially as I said, as a child, right, who's highly impressionable, you begin to adapt, whether subconsciously or consciously, right? And that's another revelation of being spiritually awakened, is that you begin to understand the power of the subconscious mind and how it influences your decision even when you are not aware, okay? And so as a child growing up, you see representation in the media, and you're like, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up, or what it is that I want to do, or what are my interests, right? And so you immediately, because you don't have the developed faculties and the maturity of mind to think for yourself, you begin to associate yourself or what you want to do by what you see. So the first thing that you identify with is your physical, the color of your skin, or how you speak, or you know. And so as a result of that, what are you going to do? You're going to associate people that you see, right, based on what you look like, and you're going to say, okay, if they can do that, I can do that too. But the truth is, you can do anything that you want. The truth is, you're not subjected to anyone's societal conforming, okay? You have the freedom and the capacity to maximize your potential and to become who God created you to be. When we think about the infinite abilities of God, we think about his ability to create. And if there's no two fingerprints that are alike, we have to imagine that our personalities, our giftings, our talents, our expressions, right, are just as unique. And so what happens is, because of societal and cultural expectations and the ignorance that comes with not knowing who you are, you begin to conform, right? You begin to become representations and clones, right, of other people and other people's expectations of you. So, as I said, the theme of this video, or the message, is endurance. Because once you've had your spiritual, you've been born again, you know, some people say spiritual awakening. From a biblical perspective, we say born again, right? Once Christ comes into your life and he begins to renew your mind, God gives you a new heart and a new spirit, amen, and you begin to move forward in the things of God for your life, you begin to see things differently. God now gives you a pure, genuine picture or image of yourself according to his truth. And as a result of that, you now begin to rebuild your life upon the foundations, or the cornerstone, who the word talks about is Christ. So this is why you have to read God's word. You have to meditate on his word. You have to have and cultivate a relationship with God, because he's going to establish you as the one and only true you. There will never be another you, okay? So when you're now moving right along the path of this truth, you got to understand that the people that you grew up with, the community that you're from, what you believed as far as your mindset and the programming, that they're not going to be supportive, right? And it's not for you to take it personal. It's for you to understand that, the one who truly loves you and wants the best for you, who is God, is not going to steer you and lead you the wrong way. So even though it hurts, right, to be stripped of these relationships and to move to a place you don't know and to start all over again, going back to school, or you may have completed multiple degrees, and you realize because of your born again experience that this industry and this profession was never supposed to be a part of who I am, but because I was following mommy and daddy's expectations, or because I was following what people say is the right way to go, I've done this, but it's been a waste of time. Yet still, when God gets involved, this is the beautiful thing about a relationship with the Lord, is that when he gets involved, he's able to work all things for the good of you, right? So when you get him involved, I don't know how he does it, it's a mystery, but the truth is he's able to take all of your experiences, good, bad, and ugly, and coalesce it into a life that makes it purposeful, that makes it fruitful, that makes it ultimately glorify God, right? And so endurance is the message. Endurance is the theme, because as you're sojourning, as you're growing, as you're developing, you're going to meet all types of oppositions, right? You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have feelings of insecurities and feeling like you're not worth it, or feeling like you're not capable. You're going to have all these different visible and invisible forces or energies coming against you for whatever reasons. But when you choose to endure, another word I like to use is to be determined, right? When you've acquired a level of determination after much setbacks, after much failures, you got to understand that you are growing. You got to understand that just like a person who wants to build muscles have to go to the gym and lift weights, eventually as they are consistent, you begin to see the fruits of their labor manifested as a tight toned physique. It's the same way when it comes to failure. It's the same way when it comes to enduring and never giving up. You are building mental strength. You are building emotional capacity. You are building confidence. You are being empowered, right? Because wherever it is that you're going, wherever it is that God is leading you, right? Again, whatever industry, maybe you are called to be, maybe, a leader in your community, business, education, anywhere in the marketplace, food, what did I say? That's it, the church. I mean, wherever the human experience right now is involved in, as far as lifestyle, right? As human beings, we are not one-dimensional. So you have the home, you have the family, you have the community, you have education, you have government, you have business, you have religion in its different forms, you have the media or the arts or creative industries, you have entertainment, you have and emerging industries, right? We are in a time now where technology was not technology 50 years ago in the context of what it is today. So life is continuously evolving. We're continuously growing and advancing and becoming our best selves. So this is why it's important for you to always have an active connection with God, because he's the only one that's going to be able to pull out of you or reveal to you where you should be, what you should be doing, why you should be doing it, and how you're going to do it. Okay, so part of a piece of the foundation, right, when it comes to you establishing this path for your life is endurance. You have to endure. You may have times or seasons where you rest because you've been working so hard, and maybe you're at a point where you don't know what to do. Rest, right? This is an opportunity for you to put things into perspective, to hear the voice of God. Maybe he wants you to pivot, maybe he wants you to go somewhere else. Just take some time to think, but understand that endurance, you have to keep going until you get to that place. And there's levels to success. There are levels to prosperity. There are levels to self-actualization and awareness. And so, if you're starting from the bottom, right, you got to understand that to get to the top, it doesn't happen overnight. You may have accelerated seasons of success where it may take, because you have God involved, right? Where it may take someone 20 years to accomplish something on their own without God, but with God, they'll take you a year. So, again, it's just about you growing in your understanding as to who God is, and as a result, God reveals to you who you are. And as a result, you begin to create the life that was meant for you. I call it a tailor-made life, okay? So again, the message on today is endurance. Endure, you know what I'm saying? Endure wisely. I'm not saying for you to take on anything or any experiences that is not a part of God's plans for your life. Be purposeful about every day that you wake up. Seek God, seek his desires for your life. Ask him to lead you in the way that you should go. And even when it doesn't make sense, because you've done your part as far as welcoming God into your life and into your day, trust that it's all working out for your good. With that being said, don't forget to check out clglifestyle.com, and you'll see how you'll be able to support the platforms in the description box. Again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Corwin L. Gilliams from CLG Lifestyle. Talk to you guys soon.